Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whoever you are and wherever you are. First thing first, Happy New Year and so long 2025. Today is the 3rd, if I remember correctly. Yeah, today is 3rd of January 2025. Little that I have to say, it has been very long in the month of November and probably December. Been very quiet, been busy with personal health issues, been busy about my families. It's December, quite a number of commitments and of course financial deadlines, and of course related to work. We try to push as much as I could on my work to the end of the year. So yeah, this year I probably missed. I was supposed to do a video on the 31st of December, the last day of the year. Try to conclude what I have collected throughout the entire year and of 2025, what I've bought, and yeah, what I have, my plans or resolution for 2026. Normally I would do that. Last year I did it, so this is the second time on my video in lifetime I was supposed to do, but yet I was kind of busy and so forth. Yeah, family issues, and so yeah, New Year was jam-packed situations. I just got back from a brief entertaining holiday that I've commit. So yeah, I pretty much is a bit tired, but yeah, just try to chill out a little bit tonight, and plus tomorrow Sunday, rest up before Monday, back to full swing work on the first day of work for me in 2026. So yeah, sideline. Well, what can I say? It seems to be 2026 will come in a very bad year. More wars coming in. Recently, news was reporting Venezuela is under attack by the United States. Iran has a revolution. That is something that I'm more happy to hear and see. That proves my conviction of what human society is about, no matter how religious you are. Iran is a very unique. I have one side, I will talk about it later, so I'll try to brief out everything. Ukraine war will prolong. Israel and Palestinian war, well, some people might call it Israel's systematic genociding the Palestinian, will continue. I would say that's a fact. Although I'm speaking really dark and gloom, like no one cares, or sensitivity, it is what it is. The fact is, people are dying. By whom? By whom? That is creating the deaths? By Israel. The will of the power and the fate is in the hands of Israel. If Israel didn't attack, Israel opened up the borders for humanitarian effort, then the Palestinians would be safe. But we all see this issue that there is a so-called grand plan, a scheme of plan by Israelis. Whether you believe it or not, I believe they do have a grand scheme of plans. Remember, we're not talking just Jewish people. Not all Jewish people align to what the government is doing. Most of the governments are Zionist organization, a cult, I would say, a section cult of radical Jews, created Israel and trying to expand Israel into a greater country. As some of my history might say, is that in the way that they want to absorb Jordan, they want to absorb part of the Lebanon, they want to absorb part of Syria and maybe Iraq, and also Saudi Arabia's northern sovereign land. to become a greater part of Israel. Some might say that, some might deny that. It's the same thing. Whether Israel has nuclear weapon, most of us live with existence thinking, yeah, they do, but officially on paper and so forth, technically they haven't disclosed it. They didn't say yes, no, they say no. So it's a kind of a legal matters of words. But the fact is a fact. They will have nuclear weapons just to deter from any bigger countries absorbing Israel's, like what happened in the past when the Romans had conquered Judea and such. That's what how his history has been reflected towards the Jewish communities. Anyway, rather than war waging across, new wars might be coming in. Who knows? New Year resolution from the so-called the president of China. I would like to call him technically becoming the chairman of China. Xi Jinping has a New Year resolution saying that Taiwan will, by this 2026, be part of one China country. Basically, finally they would defeat the Kuomintang and obliterate the Republic of China's manifestation in the land and become and absorb and subjugate it to become the People's Republic of China. Although yet we see it today, although China has been saying that they will fire the first shot, but China, if I knew better, being an instinctively Chinese by blood, but I've actually been living overseas, born overseas. I'm actually technically a Malaysian, so my forefathers actually for 4 or 5 generations before me have so-called immigrated out from China, seeking better prospect under the British colony, which is the Malay at that time, which now becomes Malaysia. Knowing how the Chinese characteristic thinking, China is actually very prepared for this. They have been preparing. There's a word that is they will hold grudge. Chinese people will hold grudge for very long because they want to make sure when they release the grudge is a guarantee overkill. Nothing less. They will overkill. So the ultimatum for the grand scheme of plan is they hopefully one day able to conquer Japan, to colonize Japan, make Japan a direct tributary country to China, subjugated to China. Southeast Asia becomes return back to become a tributary countries, and to the extent of India, perhaps. Basically, we want to return to the golden age in China, where a lot of the Southeast Asian countries in record history of their time, in the 14th or 15th centuries, even back at time, China was considered the most powerful country. They are considered as a country, if they recognize you, you have prestige. If China don't recognize you, even in the 15th or 14th century, you are nobody. And to maintain the license that they recognize you and to continue trade, you have to pay tribute. Sorry, in a way of saying it, tribute to China, to the imperial court. So a lot of times, every once a year kind of thing, you during the time in the 14th and 15th century, most of the countries in Southeast Asia, including Japan and Korea, all pay tribute to China to maintain order, to maintain trade, and maintain peace. That is how the ecosystem of the East Asia been running before the imperial colonial rule from the West. China seems to be wants to return to that situation, being the biggest power, most advanced, most populous country, most industrialized countries, most high-tech country in Asia. to really legitimately claim that, they need to defeat two opponent rivals in Asia, Japan and India. India has the population, so they have a bargaining power of influence with manpower. Technological advancement would be Japan. If they can surpass Japan's technology, render Japanese products as obsolete to the point of that, then China has claimed legitimacy as the most advanced and most industrialized country in Asia. We're just saying in Asia, not the world, because that is their projection they want to do. So in 2026, the trend has been going towards that achievement point. Now, in my past, I do know they had a master plan. Perhaps right now in 2026, they're accelerating the plan faster, but the deadline was set by Beijing when 1997, when Hong Kong officially, the British returned Hong Kong to the Beijing administration. The deal was that Hong Kong were able to self-govern for 50 years. Then it becomes totally, during that 50 years, it's supposed to be a transition period, a smooth generational transition, probably one or two generations, to assimilate themselves to the mainland's condition. So the genius plan by the British was to create that 50 years gap, so that eventually Hong Kong would genuinely, by the time in 2047, it would be more China rather than more West, so to speak. So that was the program that they had set. So Beijing actually had a plan that they set a timeline to celebrate after Hong Kong's return. 50 years later, Hong Kong will be fully controlled by Beijing, which they are in target that in 2047, Taiwan, Macau, or any territories that was lost to China during that time, except probably the Russian of the Treaty of Aigun. That probably would not be possible. It's a huge piece of land and way too long ago to claim legitimacy of the land from Russia. And technically, China and Russia is the only good friends they have when it comes to the world stage. So they won't go into that, claiming the territory, the Treaty of Aigun, was taken by the Russian Empire to be returned to China. Probably they won't go that far, but most of the basic colonial land that happened because of the Opium War, the unequal treaties, that's what they're trying to do. Like the South China Sea, the Sparsi Islands, Macau, Taiwan, probably to the extent of the Japanese Ryukyu Islands, the Okinawa Islands, and Hong Kong territory, and some of the territory that they claim by in northern India side, the Kashmir side, to be directly annexed by 2047 latest, no over than 2047. That is a significant date because that is the date they were given by the West through Hong Kong, that they have 50 years to convert those lands back to China's core sovereign. That was a grand scheme of plan, actually. So I've already anticipated, most people anticipated, by 2047 all these lands were so-called separated by from China, different from China, one country, two system, will become one country, one system by 2047. That's the grand scheme of plan. But since the resolution given by the president or the chairman of China at the moment is that they want to accelerate it by 2026. We might expect to see another war coming, but China is a little bit more restrained than Russians. They don't pull the gun first. They need to justify that someone else pulled the trigger, and they would fire. Probably they will use what the same tactic what the Japanese did in Second World War, the second Sino-Japan War, is that the Japanese created the situation by bombing their own tracks, by bombing and killing their own civilian and so forth, creating their own manifest the problem and using that to justify to declare war on China. China might be using the same tactics. They want to justify a war by creating some situation, and probably would do that. Maybe, maybe not. If there's an ounce of honor from China, I would say they would refrain from using that. With all God Almighty, I hope China from Beijing they don't use this dirty tactics. That makes them really, to me, I feel like they are hypocrites. So, if China needs to move in a different position on how to reclaim this in a fast pace, either they go through total war against to claim Taiwan as their own right through war. I don't think diplomacy would materialize, because even right now diplomacy is quite stalemate. Nothing's being budged, nothing's being moved. The only one that can move is probably the leverage right now they have is that China holds a small asset of America. It's the debt. I mean, I'm talking about the debt. So if they sell the U.S. debts openly, that would be the first barrage of attack where America has precious in economy. So that would be the first signal I would see what China would do, is to cripple the economy first, create civilian chaos where the money flow, when the money is going to be get damaged, is the root of America's weak point. If you damage that, then you can use the physical attack through Taiwan and conquest through military. They cannot go military first. There's no point there, because if they go military first, America quite well prepared, well ready. Japan will intervene. South Korea probably would intervene. Philippines might be considering intervene in this sort of way, but Filipinos are quite reserved, because Filipinos is also a member of ASEAN, and most of the ASEAN countries rely on America and China for trade, and majority of ASEAN countries, they do not support neither one of them fully. What we want is both give us guaranteed security that they don't attack or influence ASEAN's territory through military acts. So agreement between China and America, that's pretty much fine. So that was the spectrum that I see. That's the new breed of war coming in would be from China. It will be very interesting that I able to, some might say hopefully not, but I was thinking quite literally good, because this will actually kind of conclude the history chapter that is the most longest chapter in history of a civil war, other than North and South Korea, of course. The civil war in China has started in 1920s, late 1920s, and is still going on till today, because two government systems still exist: the People's Republic, the communist side, and the nationalist, where is now the democratic country, which is in Republic of Taiwan, or technically is Republic of China. They still call themselves. They're still technically at war. They're technically at still technically in a civil war between these two parties in China. It's just that you don't see it. They're just gone quiet and they pursue economic. But bear in mind, war is still active. Just as so in North Korea and South Korea, they are still damn active between the acts of war. How long the armistice and how long will the civil war last is debatable, unknown. So that's what Asia is. Now, the interesting one that I'm very itchy towards to talk about would be Iran. Now, Iran, I try to make it fast because we're not talking about this, but it's been one long month that I have not done any videos. There's a lot of interesting things I need to update myself during this time period. Is that for Iran is very interesting. People are now fed up of the government blaming the top leader, the Khomeini, and blaming a religious person for creating this problem where Iran has strained its economy very badly. The embargo works. Obviously, it works. And somewhat, when I was in university time, when people talk about Iran and its Islamic revolution, it was a pinnacle moment where Islam rise to the modern society, implementing Islamic agenda in a democratic system. Well, that is what it's supposed to be. When they toppled the Shah, the emperor of Persia, and kicked them out, and now he's exiled in America. Now we're here in the Pahlavi, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but I like to call them the Padishahs. Are taking a motion to take this opportunity and their organization to return to Iran and to establish a new government if it's fully supported by foreigners, of course. You need foreign powers to intervene in this matter. Whether it would, we would not know. I would think it would not bring the emperor back to the throne. I think Iran will become a republic, fully presidential, no religious rulers dictating, no revolutionary guards controlling the citizens or control like genuinely what a republic is. It's simple. It will try to become like today Iran. But I would think Iraq, not Iran. Iraq, to become like Iraq, what America has established, the model of democracy. But I believe that it will not. It will become power vacuum, and Iran, for it to become to a situation where they have power vacuum, it might experience the same situations as Syria. But I believe there'll be more experience like what happened in Libya, because Libya has the generation for almost 40 years ruled by a dictator. Iran has a similarity. 1970 has been ruled almost 40 years under a single political entity system. So that kind of power vacuum is huge, widely huge. I think there will be multiple civil wars within Iran, and if they go into this power vacuum, the external force that most interesting that would manipulate, they're taking opportunities to manipulate, will be Saudi Arabia. Bear in mind, in the Middle East, two great powers, Iran and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia majority are Sunni, which majority of the worlds are Sunni, of course, even in Malaysia and Indonesia. Most are devoted to Sunni sectarian. The Iran side is more Shia, and they have been bickering each other forever. One side wants to influence the other side using a proxy state, the other side the other, so yada yada yada. But this shows Iran a weakness, giving opportunity for Saudi Arabia to act and dominate Iran's influence, creating Iran a secondary power in the Middle East and putting the Sunni dominant, and probably the schisms and Islam schisms would finally end, where the dominance of Sunni is the only true path of Islam. Some might say like that. I heard many Middle Eastern people talk about it that way when they have hatred about Iran, or they're anti-Iran. Whilst the other way around is Iran has the same thing. But of course, both believe on one God. Uh, and they believe in Prophet Muhammad's teaching. It's just that way of governing is different. The rituals are slightly different, and that becomes schisms between both of them. So this will be the opportunity Saudi Arabia is looking for. The collapse of Iran's stability would generate more opportunity for Saudi Arabia to influence Middle East as a whole. Many of the proxy states that relies on Iran would collapse also. It's a domino effect. Especially like in Yemen, there will be a domino effect. Certain parts of the faction in Yemen is supported by pro Iran. Certain areas are pro Saudi. Again, if Iran collapses, Saudi will take over. This is opportunity for Saudi actually. So for me, the interesting part of Iran is another source of secondary or regional power that has great potentials. If Iran were more peaceful, more friendly towards the whole entire country of the world, I think Iran would be a great powerhouse because they have the oil, they have the resources, they have the ability to become a great country in the Middle East. I can't even dare to say Iran actually is better than Pakistan, so to speak. But because of the governing system under the so-called after Islamic Revolution and becoming an Islamic Republic, it has a core detrimental reduction on its ability to govern efficiently compared to the Shah period during the monarchy period. Yes, during the monarchy, a lot of people died because of the secret police, and also many corruptions. The rich will become richer, the poor will become poorer. That is because there is no democracy was not fully matured. So maturity of the politics through the people is very, very important. You fail to do that, you fail everything. And again, the people were not very aware. They rely on a small group of entities to develop the country, to bring hope to the country. Making the religious man to govern and lead the country was already a bad idea. It's a similarity as a dictatorship. Iran is running by a one-man show. And yes, politically, the president has the power, but every law that needs to be passed through must go through the religious man. So it holds great power under one man. There's no flexibility in there, and that's where their countries become slow in development. The only saving grace for Iran is their oil. The resources they have is stupendous. Oil was their biggest export, but when the trade embargoes happen, they sell their oil in the black market. And there are plenty of oil countries were willing to buy their oil, especially from China. China willing to buy oil from Iran openly. So they have no problem with that, provided that Iran exchange their rates using yuan or the people's currency or rial. But rial is quite weak, so China prefer to use yuan as their mode of change rather than in US dollar. That's the only way they can do. So Iran will be looking, to me, is very interesting because when I was in the university, when I have collectively debate between Iranian people, I have Iranian friends back in university. We talk about it a lot, and most of them, they really don't like a religious body governing their lives. They treat religion as a spiritual need, not economic needs. And now I kind of told people, regardless what religion you are, whether you are Jew, whether you are Buddhist, whether you are Christian, Catholic, or Protestants, whatever, Shia, Sunni, Muslims, whatever you are, money comes in very big factor in the life. If you don't able to feed the people, if you're not able to provide the basic necessity to live a decent life, that's what Iran is now experiencing. They suffer a lot, and people would actually throw down this so-called madhouse and build in to revolt, which is what currently happened in Iran. By right, Iranians do, if they are Muslims, they do not dare fight against a religious authority, because they represent God in somewhat of believing they are following the path of the religious texts. But irregardless, religious text or ideological text, whatever it is, if the people are hungry, when the people are suffering, when the economy does not bring them the life they should have, a basic needs in comparison to the world, then people would revolt, regardless of whether you're religious. Some people try to say, Iran, you won't see any religious revolt. You won't see citizens revolt again, because it has become a religious country. It is governed by Islam, following the text of Islam. So no one disputes the words of God, and the words of God guides the government. So there is no wrongdoing by the government. So that means there's no right for any citizen to criticize or revolt against the government that follows the Islamic scriptures, the Islamic laws, guided by Islamic laws. No way they will do that. Iran is a utopian society of an Islamic republic, and one day perhaps it return back to the caliphate state, the only country that is very near to becoming a caliphate state, where ISIS failed, of course. But bear in mind, again, what I've criticized is, regardless of religious matters, regardless of religious or communism or any isms that you can find in the book, any freaking isms, one thing is for sure: when the people are hungry, when the people are not living in a great dignity, and they are suffering in their life because there were no opportunities or even no hope, they will go angry, and they will revolt. This is what happened in Iran right now, at this point of time. And to me, I felt very, very proud, because it proved my theory of what the situation Iran has produced. It should not be happening, but it happened. People are more concerned of material. We are human beings, we are materialistic people. Communism, socialism, and people argue about it. I think humanity right now, we are still embedded to be greedy, embedded to be more material possession, attitude, culture-wise, system. It is humans themselves are not capable or compatible to adapt to a more efficient, more better system than currently we have, which is collectivism, which is derived from communism, and or at least the closest we can moderately put, socialists. The idea where we help everyone so they can have alleviate the lives of everybody, especially the lower class, those who are underprivileged. Those who are privileged have lived a better condition in life should contribute more so that the government can relay those so their resources to those underprivileged. But being human being, we are materialistic. We are not able to do that, and that is why capitalism is the best choice for human being, because capitalism gives you the right to do whatever you want to make money, so long you are the one possession. It's very materialistic, and even that it proves me human society cannot adapt to become better people. If the time when human beings became a better people, you know, is that it becomes communists when they adapted to a collectivism. That is something that we haven't able to achieve. China tried to achieve that. What China today is not a communist that achieved as what the communism should be. China's communism is emulating capitalism in the shadows of in the cover of the of communism. They have taxations, they have ownerships, they have people who are multi-billionaires, they're able to grab more wealth. They're practicing capitalism. And actually, China in Beijing, they're practicing capitalism very, really hard, like America. As the only difference is the government is governed solely by one party. That is one area where consensusly that is still very socialist, communistic act. But Karl Marx didn't thought that being a singular party governed for life is a good idea. It should have democracy. People are allowed to choose between different communist factions to govern on their behalf of their interests, which is based on their merit, based on the idea of fixing the country and their own wealth and society life. So that is how I actually view currently worldview and so forth. I can talk long hours on this one, but just because I talk almost half an hour about this, just that 1 month, I've kept this in my mind and I try to let it out. Back to where the main topic is, the banknotes. Last time that I talked about, I got that one and that one. And the current latest one I got is this one. Now the ones I'm waiting for quite some time is I bought it from Europe auction. Because of the Christmas season and the season of holidays, many of the establishments actually close from being operational because of it's a holiday season. So probably next week when they start operating, they'll start pack everything up and then shift. So probably end of January, I would receive my batch of new the collection that I bought. So that is 2025's collection. So yeah. So hopefully I will come next video on new banknotes that I have input in would be around that time, end of January. Okay, the note that I bought is quite a good condition, about uncirculated condition. This is actually 50,000 custom gold unit, Central Bank of China, printed in 1948. The condition of this note is brilliantly good, I would say. 1948, as I said previously, 1948 custom gold units are very rare to find. They printed only 1 year, and then 1949 China became People's Republic, so this note becomes obsolete. Hyperinflation was in the midst of happening during that time, so notes like this were were quickly becoming worthless, like Zimbabwean notes. It quickly becoming worthless, becomes toilet paper eventually. So it's really, really difficult to find good quality notes in a good condition like this to have uh, for its struggle during that period of the year 1948. 50,000 custom gold unit. Now they have few varieties of this. This is one of the common ones. This is one of the common ones among all the variation of the 50,000 custom gold unit. So the other ones are much more difficult to find and much more expensive. I saw two different variation of the 50,000 actually. Both of them are selling at really, really expensive price, but the condition is much, much worse than this. It's really worn out, but the thing is, it is what it is. You can find it there, you can get it there, and that it is, and hopefully you can get it. It is very difficult. One of the most difficult one to buy, but actually has been repeatedly being auctioned out, is the 250,000 custom gold unit, the highest denomination of all of them. It's really difficult to find about uncirculated condition for that note, but even that in EF extremely fine, very fine condition, that note is still very expensive because the printing quantity for the 250,000 CGUs were very limited because they printed almost the last period of months when before China was taken over by the communists. So its existence only flourished probably a few months, then it ceased to exist. So it will never be fully used across China, especially in Shanghai. Most of these notes are only being used around Nanking and Shanghai region. These notes were printed in Shanghai, so you won't see these notes across China, especially in northern China. You won't find this type of notes, or even in Xi'an, central China, maybe a little bit in South China, southern states and China, but most of these notes are only circulated and used in Shanghai, and probably in Chongqing. Probably, but Chongqing has their own banknotes establishment and written there Chongqing. Most of these banknotes is actually established in Shanghai for use in Shanghai. If you see the earlier one, like this one, when the early days was sole purpose for the custom, used for custom converting to gold, is used in the area in a custom office in Shanghai. That's why it's written Shanghai. I'm bringing up here. Shanghai. Yeah. They will have these labels. So the big one, like the small denomination one, until the 100 CGU, the red color one, they will label here Shanghai because there was a purpose to use in Shanghai. But when later the bank started to say that commoners or the commercial businesses in China, inside of China, able to use the CGUs like normal banknotes, that is why you see a lot of this note becomes smaller. You see the size. They're smaller. Even the denomination is 50,000. This is 5, but the 5 is much bigger. It's because, and if you notice, no word Shanghai, because they will want to expand using this note across China. Obviously, hyperinflation happened, and then eventually this type of note was cancelled, and they converted into, I believe they converted to silver dollar yuan or gold converted gold yuan. Then after that one they used in England, that one they got hyperinflation to a million, to 100,000, to 500,000, to a million yuan, and then eventually it collapsed, and then Republic of China retreated to Taiwan, and they print one of the few first Taiwan Bank of Taiwan's banknotes in this format. So you see a lot of it is Sun Yat saying the earlier days of Taiwan banknote. It's just that they changed this one from Central Bank of China to Taiwan Bank, Bank of Taiwan. So everything else is the same. The picture here will be the Bank of Taiwan. So yeah, They still use this format in the early days of Taiwan, and with the same face and so forth. But the denomination, of course, they changed to smaller denominations because the economy much more stabilized in Taiwan compared when they were in hyperinflation in China in 1948. So this is the only note that I have today that I've got. Now, just to recap, word by words, I would say sorry, I don't have any things prepared out. Didn't have the time. I just got back from vacation or holiday, small short holidays. My last year's resolution was to collect focus on the Japanese notes. So I've actually focused on Japanese notes. As you see my previous videos, I went to Japan to get some of the notes that are virtually very difficult to get in my country, in Malaysia, and then eventually I focus on a different perspective. That I focus on this one, which is the region bank factory print different, this type of notes, which is different as you see. So like the two last prefix number do tell where is the bank's name and location of the company printing and the location where it was print. So that is the one that I focus at the moment. And of course, collecting China's notes. I've been focusing on collecting this type of notes, the custom gold units, above all else. Some of them, if I get a good price, I would buy, especially the first series of People's Republic of China. That one I'm still lingering on. So that was my notes that I have bought. And of course, there's few notes like commemorative notes, beautiful ones that I got, like for example, like this one. I forgot about this one. This one is a bit controversial at the moment. It's Israel's new shekel notes, 20 shekel. This was a commemorative note of the Victory Day from Kazakhstan. To me, this is the very most beautiful note I ever get. The hologram inside here has really very interesting look of depths. They have depths, front and back. It's actually one piece of paper, so it's really beautiful. That this one, I hope this one would win as the best design banknote for 2025. Then other than that is this one. I 2 years ago banknote, but finally I got it this year as my collection. It was very difficult. Another one, 2000 from Sri Lanka, commemorative banknote. Most of the overseas notes I collect, I bought the commemorative banknotes. I didn't collect the general notes a lot because as I focus on China, so my resources were much more limited. Argentina, 2000. What do they call it? 2000 pesos. Zimbabwe, 10 Zimbabwean gold, which they follow Russia. They have a QR code. Another note series for Libya. At the beginning, I thought this is the showing the map of the oil. Actually, it's not. It's actually the canals, the waterway canals in Libya. Libya, as far as I know, is a really arid desert territory. For it to present such a manner, say that they have irrigation, waters and so forth going deep into the heartlands of Libya, shows a very very good significance of their progress of their country. So I didn't realize that it was, I thought it was an oil rig or oil achievement of a complexity of collecting oil in Libya, but actually it's actually reservoir of water networks. Something new, Guinea, Portuguese Guinea, and Angola. Something simple, something uniquely I find couldn't find a lot in dealers that have Angola banknotes, except the newer ones, which is before the collapse of the Western Empire. So those are the notes that I've got for 2025 and so forth. And of course I diversify my finance to other things like Pokemon, as you know, Magic the Gathering, which is my favorite team of all the Magic Gathering, is actually Avatar, the Last Airbender, one of my favorite ones. So it points me to buy that one. Recently, I just got that deck, the starter deck of the 100 series starter decks. It was quite cheap. I got it for about $100 for that one. So pretty much, yeah, it's still overpriced because if you buy it in Japan for one pack, it should be about 30 to 40 ringgit. Somebody have make a profit up to double. So I got it for 100, but most of it I saw it selling at 150 or 200. So those are whack up price, I would say. So I managed to snatch one for a good collection and so forth. So yeah, my collection for this year were not so as heavy as last 2023, due to financial constraint. I have to divert a lot of my finance and so forth. So in 2026, what are my resolution? Here's the plan. Number one, I would be focusing still the Chinese banknotes, which is the Republic of China, maybe beyond the CGUs, because right now I noticed that the ones that I'm missing, those CGUs banknotes, the denomination, are the ones that are very difficult to find, or you have to go to China and find it. Most of those common ones I have discovered, I have bought it, I have collected it, I have preserved it. So those are the remaining ones are very difficult. They're harder to collect, whether it's capital, whether it's cost-wise issue, or is rarity issues. So slowly I will still focusing on CGUs if I have the opportunity to find one, but at the moment, as time races on to 2026, I probably divert myself to look at Bank of China during Republic eras, on other banknotes in Republic of China. Maybe I focus on Bank of China, Central Bank of China other than CGUs, Bank of Communications, which is another one very tough to collect. Bear in mind, throughout the whole history, collecting Chinese banknotes, no, not a single person in the entire world, not a single person has all the banknotes of China. If you include special notes, the serialized notes, totally impossible, because serialized notes, there's a lot of private notes printed out in China, because China was so decentralized of their finance. It becomes a regional pockets of a small enterprise printing their own banknotes. So they have a section of a catalog book for serialized or specialized banknotes, which the big number they will start with an S in the front. Those notes, in my lifetime collection, if it's beautiful, I'll collect it for personal favoritism. But beyond that, I do not collect that for the sake of collecting those notes, because they're way too big. And even without removing those and focusing on the main general bank notes, not a single person have all the collection of it. Whether it's the Republic era or the People's Republic. Probably the People's Republic much more easier to collect them all to complete the set. Of course, certain notes are difficult to find because and they are very expensive. Like the first series, 50,000 yuan. Those notes are virtually difficult. Or the black note, 10 yuan. We call it the black note, 10 yuan. That one is, you can get it in the auction. Heritage do oftentimes have that. But the cost, well, you have to really have a big pocket to acquire those notes when the competition comes. So those are one of the issues that of notes and collecting them, personal collections. If you are rich, a deep pocket, I think those obstacles are much more easier. The difficult part still, even you have a deep pocket, collecting Chinese banknotes is finding those banknotes. They are really, really difficult to find because of throughout China's history. During 1947-48, civil war was broke, countries were converted from the republic to people's republic. A lot of those, the old notes of the republics quantity, were all destroyed because they are declared null and void. So finding those specific notes would become difficult, especially the empire or imperial China's banknotes. They are even harder to find. So there are currently no one man in or person have the full collection of Chinese. Not even the museum in Beijing has a full set. Not even Smithsonian Museum in Washington D.C. has all the Chinese banknote collection. No one person has acquired all of it. But I try my best to collect certain notes that I love to collect. Custom Gold unit was one of the first one. The first notes that I got in my collection was the Custom Gold unit with Sun Yat-sen portrait. This is one of my very first notes I collect for foreign banknotes in my lifetime when I was in my high school. So I continue collect them for passion, for it. And of course my love for Japanese culture and leads me to collecting Japanese banknotes. I love the Japanese banknotes series. So in my resolution 2026, I will continue to pursue to collect all the notes, hopefully all the notes after the Second World War. That means 1946 onwards to today. Banknotes that are missing in my collection, the variation, I hope that I could find them and acquire them to complete that set. Then once I completed that set, I will focus before the Second World War or during the Second World War, and then during the Meiji era. Once reached the Meiji era, I believe all the Japanese banknotes I would have acquired. Japanese banknotes are not so vast, but the older the notes are, the more difficult and more expensive they are. And believe me, they are ridiculous price. Really, really ridiculous price. And for me, there are certain notes that are expensive is because they are specimen notes. For me, I don't collect specimen notes. It's one of the personal rules that I have in collection. Specimen notes, my rule is I only collect notes that has already used in the public by the masses. It can be touched, it can be used, it has spent by the commoners in the commercial position. Those are the notes that I focus collection. Specimen notes, trial color notes, essay notes, I don't collect them unless they are cheap and they are beautiful, and probably I will consider buying it. But for the sake of collection in my collection archive, no, I leave those out. So CGU, there are one note I leave it out, which is the 1947 100 custom gold unit in a not in a portrait but in landscape design. That note was considered as unissued banknote. They were not issued to the masses. They were printed, tested, but not issued officially to the masses. So that note is considered as unissued. So I don't focus on finding that note. Even finding that note is way difficult. Then there are some of the notes within 1948 have specimen notes. They are printed out but didn't issue. Those notes I also don't collect them. I don't consider them as a fair game to find those notes. The fair game note is they have already circulated, it's already in the open market, so you can find it from the people who have used before, they have kept it in their house or kept it in the storage, and then you get it from there. Those are the fair game for me in collection. For those unissued notes, you have to get special network to get those notes. One of the notes that I have pride on as an unissued note is actually my 1 ringgit printed in 1999. That note is considered as unissued note because the governor has already changed, so you can't issue that note while the new governor is already taken the office. So that 1 ringgit Malaysia ringgit is actually have already told all the branch across the state not to issue. The only one state that didn't receive that memo was Penang. So Penang actually didn't receive that memo. They issue out to the commercial bank and distributed those notes. That's how those notes got out. By the time they received that note, it was too late. They halt the big bulk, but small portion of the bulks have already delivered to the commercial banks. The commercial banks already issue out, and that's how people collect. Now, technically, that unissued note was accidentally issued, so you can still find those notes in the wallet, but the chances are slim to none, because everyone know that note is really, really rare and really, really pricey. For that note, a good condition of that note would already can cost about 5,000 to 6,000 ringgit. I got it in they were printed in 1999, issued in year 2000. I got that note in 2003 with my own pocket money that I saved during my high school time. I got that one for 400 ringgit. For 1 ringgit at that time, buying it for 400 ringgit, it's a really ridiculous, utmost ridiculous price, almost 4,000% of the face value, and now it's already worth about 5,000, 6,000 ringgit. I already graded that note. If you want to see it, check out my old videos that I've actually talk about it on that one unissued 1 ringgit note, Malaysia ringgit. Speaking of changes of banknotes, there are three things that I would like to talk about. Number 1, congratulations to Bulgaria. Bulgaria is now leaving their old bank currency notes, the live to euro. So Bulgaria is now using euro, and it will take 1 month to 2 months period for the entire citizens to convert their old Bulgarian money, the live, to euros. And they already printed special coins, already issued out, the coins that is representing Bulgaria, and the banknotes are printed in serialized numbers for Bulgaria was also issued. So they have already entered euro. So in economic structure changes, interest rate changes would be following the euro system and euro standard. That's 1. Number 2, anticipating is the Syria. Syria just recently issued out a notice that they are creating a new banknote. That is something that I actually anticipate. One moment. I'm gonna have some water. Syria finally have announced that they're issuing new banknotes. The new one, looks really soft than the previous ones. The previous banknotes, the Syrian pound, when Assad was still the leader of the country, they were more patriotic, they were more modernism, talking about development of the country. The new notes for the Syria seems to look a little bit more ecological. They show fruits, domestic fruits, grapes, orange, mandarin, orange, citrus, or fruits. But the thing I have criticism is the color. The 10 and the 100 and the 50 and the 500, the colors were similar, almost similar. They are different, but they are so similar. To me, if you have that close of a color, it's very risky. people might mistake the denomination when they pay for something that is 100 Syrian pound, if they still use Syrian pound, but actually the person is paying 10. If you just look at the color, you didn't see the money itself properly, you lost 90 Syrian pound. Either side can become a victim. Worse is the 50 and the 500. The colors is almost similar, almost slightly darker one side on the other denomination, but the color in general, if you look from far, it looks really similar of the note. So you can check that out. You just type in the Google at the moment to new Syrian banknotes, and you can see the banknotes, how it looks like. It's really soft, really beautiful. It looks for me like very ecological banknote. It's like the Green Party has finally taken over the world, and the ecologists have taken over and governed the world, and this is the banknotes they are printing out. Something like that. It looks really elegant and really beautiful. I actually like it. Some people call it really monopoly money because of the color. The color is very monotonous across the whole thing. It's actually almost like it's almost look like this. The only thing is this color it bleeds all across the whole thing. If it's a red, they bleed across the whole entire banknotes red color. At least, like this kind of notes, there are certain area white and so forth for watermarks. There's certain area that it leaves for security edge, like watermark and so forth. But the Syrian notes, everything was so colored, so people call it it looks like monopoly money. I do agree, it looks like monopoly money, like the game board Monopoly. But I think it will be the first country to use that kind of note, really brave colors to be a new banknote. So I'm really anticipating one day we're going to issue those notes, probably this year or in 2027. We do not know, but it was just announced last week. The other one is Brunei. Brunei is actually, sadly, I would say, Brunei this year in 2026, all the new banknotes they're issuing would call their banknote ringgit. So they're going to change the ringgit to Brunei dollar. So DOLAR, that's how they're going to spell in Brunei Malay language. They're going to remove the ringgit and become dollar. It's kind of sad because ringgit has been used by Malay quite long. Indonesians, the language they use rupiah, because the word rupiah comes from Sanskrit word rupee in India, and they were governed those days were by under Hindu Buddha before Islam came. But Brunei and Malays, they share a very common identity, and one of the currency words they use is ringgit. For them to shift the language from using Brunei ringgit to Brunei dollar, it's, to me, I find it really sad. So now ringgit is now the only country that uses ringgit is actually my country, Malaysia, the sole remaining country in the world which has the denomination ringgit. We are alone. Sounds sad, isn't it? But some say, wow, Malaysia is only one country in the world uses ringgit. So it's an exclusivity now. Now Brunei's new banknotes, they will convert, you'll see their new banknotes, they don't use ringgit, now they use dollar. So that's one of the sad, or some might say good news. Other than that, Oman is going to come out a new polymer note. 1 rial is a commemorative note, so I think 1 rial would be affordable for me to collect. So I'm actually looking forward to getting that note in the future. But it has already started issuing. It's just that it will take some time for you to get until international markets to get those notes. So hopefully I'll fetch those notes eventually the time comes. What else was in the other notes? Of course, Chinese New Year is coming. Official Chinese New Year is in the middle of February. So I think on the 12th or 13th of February is the Chinese New Year. And of course, when there's Chinese New Year, there's definitely one commemorative banknote is going to come out from the very country of the People's Republic of China, which is the Zodiac commemorative banknote. Basically, it's a 20 yuan or 20 renminbi denomination. They're printing out that denomination only as a banknote, which has variety of images how the country of the cross China celebrate Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. And of course, that is the backs or the reverse side of the banknote, depicting kids or depicting citizens celebrating how they celebrate Chinese New Year. So this year, the Lunar New Year would be representing the horse zodiac. So the banknote would introduce the front is the horse, Ma. In Mandarin, we call it Ma. And looking at that note, comparing the dragon, which is 2 years ago, and this year the snake. Last year the snake. Technically, in Chinese calendar today is still the year of the snake. Until the Chinese New Year comes, then it becomes, it would be changed to the year of the horse. Technically, right now it's still the year of the snake. So the year of the snake. It was a little bit pinkish color, and I noticed that the new commemorative banknote for China for the year of the horse is also pink color. It's a bit weird, but probably a different type of pink, I would say. Until I get a note, then I won't be able to study the note and let you guys know how the actual note looks like. Again, every year I will ask my dealer, who is actually from China. She already flew back to China already to get ready to get this note. Every dealers now across the world are now waiting for China. They're standing by, they're booking it. It's like madness again. Every time the bank in China will go mad on this notes. The first one was in for the year of the dragon, 2023. Was madness of the year of the dragon. So then the snake came, and then now the year of the horse. We'll be anticipating more people are looking forward to get those notes. Now a lot of those, they try to get notes with a very nice serial numbers like 8 8 8 8 1 1 1 1 2 2 2, solid numbers, binary numbers, reverse numbers, radar numbers. For me, I don't really care about it, because why spend extra money for those notes? For me, I just want to collect those notes and keep it for collection. So number wise, I don't collect them unless I got the opportunity to get them for a good price. Then I will consider. If there are opportunities there, but they're selling it like 1,000, 2,000 ringgit, forget it. The face value is only 20 yuan. That's about 9 ringgit on face value. It's about 9 ringgit or 8 ringgit. It doesn't worth 1,000 ringgit for me to pay for something that is only actual face value of 8 ringgit. It doesn't make sense to me, unless I'm planning as an investment and resell it beyond the 1,000 ringgit cost. Then that's another effort, but I'm not doing that at the moment. For this one, I'm just doing it as a collection, and I buy it also for my friends so they have a good collection also. And bear in mind, this is a mission task that will take a 12-year journey to collect the full set of the 12 zodiacs. Each year is represent one zodiac, so there are 12 zodiacs, 12 years span. The last country that had experimented this was actually Macau. Macau actually issued the Chinese New Year notes also last 12 years back or 15 years back. They started it with a rabbit, and then until the year of the ball or something. I forgot what year it is. But the 12 cycle years, it took 12 years for people to collect the Macau's 12 zodiacs. China is doing the same thing, and I actually started that loophole started from the year one, so I have to get all the 12 years. So eventually this journey for collecting the commemorative banknote for the Chinese New Year from 21 in China will be a during process for 12 years. So I already got two. One is coming this year, so there will be another 9 more to go. 9 more years to go to collect a full set of these notes. Let's see. Yep, that is all for today. That's all I can say for today. Yeah, that's my resolution. I haven't said. I will continue collecting the Chinese notes, but probably other than CGUs, I will be expanding in the Republic of China. Other than that, like Bank of China, other notes of the Central Bank of China, the Agricultural Bank of China, probably with that, Bank of Communication, those notes that are printed out during the Republic eras. And then if I have opportunity, People's Republic of China, if the price is right, regardless of the condition, the price must be right. And now my major focus for this year is actually the cost effectiveness, buying a note that is cost effective, fair game and fair price. This is what I try to avoid paying premium price. This is my objective for 2026. Avoiding paying a premium price is the main strategy for me. So I try to get notes. They might look bad. They are not uncirculated condition, good condition, probably rare condition, but at least it's a start in my collection. Because of the price and because of the situation I have financially, because I need to divert something else. Wink wink. Pokemon 2026 actually 30th anniversary. There are a lot of features and products are coming out for Pokemon that I am actually interested in getting them. So I am diverting some of my capital in getting some Pokemon merchandise, and also try to get my collection satisfied in the Avatar, The Last Airbender, and also continue my banknote. China and Japan. United States, I kind of dropped down a little bit, and then other commemorative banknotes across the other countries, I'll try to acquire them if the price is right. So collecting the older notes from America, probably I will freeze that unless the price is really, really, really good and interesting, or the opportunity of getting that note is difficult, then I will consider it. Beyond that, I'm not thinking it. So that is all from me for today. Thank you very much. If you like this video, do give me a like, thumbs up. If you have comments or do you have anything you want to say, or some word of advice and so forth, or criticism, do write in the comments to me. And if you want to see my future videos and so forth, do subscribe. Again, my disclaimer, I do this not for videos views. I do this so that I can record and archive my diary. I treat these videos as my diary for my future self, to review it what I had on that time period, because I kind of very forgetful myself, so using this video as a way to remembering what I got on that period of the time. And also vice versa, since I store it in YouTube, which is free storage, I would say, I would be willing to share my ideas and words to the to all of you out there who are watching this video, getting inspired, and hopefully I inspire you to collect banknotes. And I try my very best to share most of my collection, so that I want to inspire younger generations to collect. One of my proud moments in 2025, I'm able to inspire 11-year-old. No, sorry, yeah, I think 11-year-old, yeah, 11-year-old kid who actually bought my banknote. He bought the 2 yuan 1964, if I'm not mistaken, 1962 banknote. People's Republic of China banknote, 2 yuan. There's only one 2 yuan banknote. The one with the pagoda, the blue one. I have two, so I'm selling the other one. So he was interested. He has the same idea what I had. He knows that the note has good value. I didn't charge really expensive, so it was really great that I met a kid that I can inspire a kid to collect banknotes. That's how I collected my banknotes. I started very young. He started at 11. I started when I was in 13 years old in my collection. So yeah, he was 2 years younger than me. So I'm not the youngest anymore, so to speak. But yeah, having to inspire some kid to collect banknotes is something very joyful, and I hope that all you out there who watch this video do get inspired in collecting banknotes. Who knows, by the time you have your grandkids, by the time 50 or 80 years in the future, banknotes probably will be a thing of the past, truly becoming antiques, where we are moving towards a digital currency, moving to e-wallets. Even we are moving away from credit cards and paper checks, moving into digital currencies. Who knows what future would become? Denmark already just abolished the letters, physical letters system, and moving all in email. Just recently a news came out that who knows when banknotes would appear to be the same scenario, when a country stop printing banknotes and rely on solely on digital currency as an official currency. We do not know what future holds in, but one thing for sure, banknotes to me, they are going to become an antique. Once they're printed, that's their lifespan. And forever they go in time, they will preserve the history of that time they were printed. Thank you very much again, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks, and bye.